I am a professional haunted house actor with more than a decade of experience in the haunted house industry. An amateur makeup artist, and I have caused people to wet themselves, crap themselves, and even caused several heart attacks. Ask me anything. I have worked in the Minnesota-Wisconsin haunt scene for close to 15 years, scaring at some of the largest events in the nation. I have been featured in newspapers around the globe, been interviewed by several local news stations, and even had a short interview by NBC New York. I am best known for playing Leatherface at Screamtown in Chaska, Minnesota, and Village of Terror in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, where my chainsaw Fred, yes, I named it, and I have caused people to visibly wet themselves, lose bowel control, and in two cases, suffer from non-fatal heart attacks. After a badly sprained ankle several years back when I chased some girls through the woods, I have been in semi-retirement only haunting a few nights a year since. You can see photos of me in action here. I will answer any questions I can throughout my workday, and other haunters are invited to chime in and answer questions. Ask me anything. Have you ever tried to scare someone and they just laughed and never got scared? How do you handle those types of people that don't get scared? If you can't scare them, entertain them. I'll toss out the scary voice and be a smartass, or say something to get them to laugh. Then I'll ask them for a scream, and most of them will oblige and move on. I've heard from maze supervisors that people come through and remember me cause I made them laugh. Similarly, I'm a stand-up comic and whenever the audience doesn't laugh I'll whip out my chainsaw and try to decapitate someone. Ever been gut reaction punched? Yes. More times than I can count. I had one young lady about 1/3 my size, I'm almost 6 feet 5 inches and a big dude, punch me square in the forehead. The foam latex prosthetic I was wearing at the time prevented me from being injured. She got hounded through the rest of the maze by the other actresses. It was fun. Alright, so I gotta ask, who were the heart attacks? One was a younger guy who had an unknown heart condition. I had been following him through the haunt, and then ducked into one of the back pass-through tunnels that are hidden from the patrons. When I popped out in front of him, he pretty much just collapsed and became non-responsive. We did an all-stop, which is where we shut the maze down, kick the lights on, and first responders, the staff outside of the actors, got to him. He survived and made a full recovery last I checked. One was a much older guy who had a known heart condition and still came through. I was in my robe getup as patchwork at the insane asylum in Eau Claire, Wisconsin at the time, and had been dragging an axe across the concrete floor behind him for part of the maze. He freaked out, turned around to yell at me and did a full chest grabber. He also survived. What makes people scared? Like where is the line between scary and ridiculous? It's subjective. Some people get scared easily and will reflect that by the typical scream and cower, or in some cases, laughter. Others don't get scared, but come through to enjoy the scenery, and other people getting scared. Ridiculousness is whatever the beholder determines, and how good the actress is. Can you usually differentiate between scared and startled? Like I tend to startle fairly easily, but I don't know, a haunted house could be too scary to me if I know it's all just people and animatronics in costumes. You get quite the involuntary jump from me though. I'm actually on the autism spectrum and I have prosopagnosia. The haunt scene is how I get outside of my comfort zone, and also how I am able to let go of some of the pent-up stress of having to wear a mask all day every day in my normal social work life. To answer your question with the above information in mind, I have difficulty determining the difference between truly scared, terrified, and merely startled. Body language is pretty obvious in most scenarios, as in terrified people will cower, curl up, startled people will jump, then move on once the startle is past. Every once in a while, someone will come through who is terrified, but they don't show it as you would normally expect. They'll stay in line, stare straight ahead, and just try to move past. I've heard people like this whimpering as I would get close, even without going out of my way to scare them. I do my best to recognize this and back off if I can. Unless you're exaggerating, you seem proud that you gave several people heart attacks. Why? I feel horrible that they had heart attacks, but yes, I am a bit proud as well. I would be devastated if someone actually died because of me. But, since they survived, it's not a bad thing. Are you CPR certified? I think it'd be a good idea. I was for a long time, but we had true first responders on hand that were much better prepared, and an ambulance with EMTs outside. They were all in good hands. Why are you celebrating heart attacks caused like a trophy? Who has the highest heart attack to scare ratio in the game? I am not sure who has the highest ratio, though I know other actors/actresses that have scared people so badly they fainted collapsed. I know that the ones I caused were definitive heart attacks that included ambulance rides and everything because those people came back to tell us about it. What do you think of those extreme haunts where they straight up torture people? I strongly dislike them. That's not scary, that's disgusting to me. It doesn't take talent to do things like smear something on someone. Scaring someone without touching them, without being disgusting or causing pain is an art form. Former haunt actor as well. What's the little trick you've learned to catch people off kilter? I volunteered in a corn maze for about 4 years, and I always managed to incorporate chains into my outfit. There was a local dog that also had a chain around his neck who was super friendly and would play with visitors 3 out 4 of the time they were expecting the dog and not an actor with a chainsaw, so it allowed me to get really close to folks. Nothing better than a perfectly timed chainsaw reverend. Agreed. There really is nothing better than a perfectly timed chainsaw reverend. I have my saw tuned well, and it starts on the first pull every time once it is warmed up. Unfortunately, I'm a massive dude, so I can't really be sneaky in most of the environments I've been in, unless it's to step out in front of or immediately behind a group when they don't know I'm there. Since I don't have anything that gives away my location when I'm moving around between groups, I get most of my solid scares this way. The saw gets most of the scares, my size and costume get the rest. What are your views on Mikami Manor? Not OP but a scare actor for 19 years. It gives haunted houses a bad name. The guy gets off on torture, and if you need to pull people's teeth out, or even just threaten it, to scare somebody, you're probably just not scary and just a psycho. I endorse your comment for president. It gives haunts a bad name. It's not even in the same category, and it's low class in my opinion. No pants shitting story yet? So what happens when one shits their pants? As Nttlwasnwa says, it smells bad. I don't know about the ridicule. Usually I'll escort them out. In some bad cases, we've had to shut down for 20 minutes to clean the floor. Don't wear short dresses if you are going to shit yourself. As a fellow haunted house actor, for 3 years, my favorite scare ended in a broken nose. I was playing Uncle Frank, and popped out of a closet and said come to daddy. She grabbed onto her boyfriend who had a slick jacket and slipped, hitting her nose on a stairwell. She got up and ran like hell into Pinhead, got scared again, and kept running. The next scene was Texas Chainsaw, and you can imagine what your fellow Leatherfaces did. I got actor of the night, and was proud of myself. What scare are you most proud of? I have so many to choose from, but I'd have to say the two that I really enjoyed the most were father with little boy walking next to him, about 6 years old, stupid dad. Children don't belong in a scare zone. I walked up behind them and leaned forward next to the little boy's ear and whispered, I'm right behind you. He didn't make a noise, not even a squeak. Instead, his reaction was so violent, it looked like his skeleton was trying to rip its way out of his skin. I'm responsible for years of therapy for that kid, and I hope his father learned a lesson. The same night was another dad with a little boy, only he was carrying the boy. The kid was about the same age. He was looking back over his father's shoulder when he saw me pop out. He said to his dad, he's right behind us, and then turned to me with a great big smile. I gave him a high five. Thank you Synssins for sharing your stories with us. There is a link in the description where you can find original Reddit thread and read even more about his adventures as a haunt actor. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like. Happy Halloween.
I you.